Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. And shalom, and welcome to a show I'm calling today The End of the Beginning. It's the end of the secular year. It's maybe the beginning of the end of the coronavirus with these vaccines. It's the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. That's what I meant. The end of the beginning for Jonathan Pollard, who has finished off a chunk of his life, prison and all that business, and now he is here in the land of Israel. And it's also the end of the beginning in terms of the Torah portion of Bereshit. Malkah Fleisher, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Yishai. Big mazel tov to you and to all of our listeners. A very big day for the Jewish people, for Israel.
Right, and that is Jonathan Pollard's return. And we're going to talk about that at length coming right up on our segment that we did yesterday on our Facebook Live on video. And you could always join us live when we go live on YouTube, Facebook, and also Periscope. Now it's turning to be Twitter, so it's a lot of fun to do video with you, Malkah. We haven't done video in a long time, and so this is just a little intro for the rest of our show. But in this intro, I think you mentioned something to me before we started recording, which is that your mom, Aliyah Shalom, would have been very moved by Jonathan Pollard coming home.
Right. There are a lot of people, I think, who've been waiting a very, very long time for this. As the hours have passed by since Jonathan Pollard has kissed the ground here in the land of Israel, like more details are coming out about what his landing was like. I saw on Twitter, I think that you posted, Yishai, or somebody else, that the Pollards didn't even know that Netanyahu was going to be greeting them at the airport. They looked out the window of Sheldon Adelson's, 747 personal aircraft, which is sweet inside, by the way. And they're like, oh, look, it's the Prime Minister of Israel. It's Prime Minister Netanyahu, who came to greet them quietly in the morning. And I heard also that only a very, very few people knew that he was coming. And some of those people did get to meet with him. And there have been people we know our friend Israel Meidad, who worked for years and years personally on almost a career level to get Jonathan Pollard out of prison to try and try and be a support to him. Growing up, it was part of our family.
Oh, and you got to see them?
I'm not sure if Israel Meidad got to see them, but I saw somebody posted a picture of them driving in the car with him somewhere. They didn't say anything about it, but they were taking him somewhere in a car, and they were he was a big part in the government of the Jonathan Pollard wing of the government, whatever little parts. I think
it was a caucus. I think he was the head of a caucus that was trying to make sure that Jonathan Pollard would come back.
Right. Okay. Growing up in my little town in Texas, where I grew up as a not very religious but very Jewish Jew, Jonathan Pollard and his plight was a part of our family's Zionism, And my mother...
And you were very proud Americans also.
We were very proud Americans, but this was one of those things. It wasn't a huge part, meaning to say, I guess there were bigger parts, but the fact that Jonathan Pollard was in jail was something that we knew about as kids. My mother, she passed away already a long time ago, before our first child was born, who's now 13 years old. But I thought of her as I saw Jonathan Pollard coming off the plane, realizing that this is a long time coming, this happy news. And Baruch Hashem. Then this morning, I was looking in a WhatsApp group from our old neighborhood in Ma'aleh HaZeitim. And
on the
Mount of Olives, and they're very Israeli there, and they're very Torani there, and they share different stuff than we get in the current community that we live in. So I like to check out their stuff. So one person really recommended to watch a short 11-minute video of Rav Zafrani, I think is his name, who was the right hand man to Rav Mordechai Eliyahu of blessed and sainted memory.
Saint Lee
memory.
We don't saint people.
Yeah, we don't actually saint.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But he was Saint Lee.
Yeah, he was Saint Lee. He was a tzaddik, okay? Tzadiki memory. So, and he was a great rabbi who also passed away some time ago. And 10 years ago, I think, something
Chief
like
Rabbi
that.
of Israel.
Chief Rabbi of Israel, and a big inspiration, particular to everyone, but particularly to the national religious community. And the rabbi told a story about how Rav Mordechai Eliyahu decided that he was going to visit Pollard. There were some circumstances, I can't remember the story, but he decided that he needed to go see Jonathan Pollard in prison. And it was during the month of Elul, which is the month before Rosh Hashanah, when there's a lot of introspection. And usually he's extremely busy going to different communities and receiving people. And it's a very busy month for the Jewish people in terms of spirituality and Torah learning. But he decided he was going to the United States, and they had to go through it was like in a maximum security prison, some like highest level security prison in America.
Butler, North Carolina. And they had to go through like 9 different security checks. Butler or Butner? I forgot. One of those. Okay.
And nobody who had like even like metal fillings or like pins in their ankle or something like that could go in, because the metal detector was so sensitive, and they just like respected the medical detector at all times. So Rav Zafrani told the story about how Rav Mordechai Eliyahu wanted to go through the metal detector. And everyone's like practically getting naked, right? Because you know how it is. You go to the airport. You ever like, my dad is famous for going through the airport and like having to practically disrobe to get through the metal detector. So you know how it is. You're going through maximum security prison. You're taking off your belt buckle, your shoe, your glasses. Maybe your shirt has a metal pin in it, something like that. And Rav Mordechai Eliyahu like takes off his glasses and takes off his pen and goes through the metal detector. And like, they don't understand how it can be that he like, it was so easy for him to go through this metal detector. That never happens. And they like looked in his pocket and they found some coin or something. And they're like, what? And they like, the guard like took the coin, went through the metal detector, and it beeped. But for Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, it didn't beep. And they proceeded to kind of frisk him, and they found like all these like, obviously not dangerous, but like these metal objects. And they were just like, what? This is impossible. Like, this has never, ever happened. And so they called like the head of the guards or something, and they like checked it. They checked the things. They all beeped. They put it on the rabbi. It didn't beep. The chief guard is like, this is a holy man. Let him through. And they let Rav Mordechai Eliyahu through. He had to go down some like 3 flights of crazy stairs in order to get to Jonathan Pollard. And he finally gets to the room where they're meeting. And there's like all these like little cookies and chocolates and things like that on the table. And Rav Mordechai said, wow, they let the prisoners in this maximum security prison have all these like treats. Like, where did you get this stuff? And he said, well,
who said this? Jonathan?
Yeah. So Rav Mordechai said, like, where did you get these treats? And so Jonathan said, well, once a month, if a prisoner exhibits good behavior, they give him some kind of like, in Israel, we call it a chupar, right? Like a little prize of some kind of food, a chocolate, a cookie, a cake, or something like that. And I heard from your people for 6 months ago that you were planning to come. So every month I saved my treat so that when you came, I could like honor you and offer you my treats.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story.
So those are that's the story I heard this morning, courtesy of Maleh Zaitim and Rav Zafrani. And Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, who is also no longer with us, but I'm sure that many souls are happy up in heaven at this final moment of justice.
And his son, the Shmuel Eliyahu, continues that tradition.
Continues to be a great inspiration.
Speaking of continuing tradition, Malkah, we have a continuing show. We have a lot to go. So here is our segment from yesterday with a lot of excitement about all the issues that we talked about, the New Year, vaccines, the end of the book of...
oh, wait, there's one more part to the Mordechai Eliyahu story. I'm sorry, I have to tell you the last part, because I know you like stories like this, and I'm sure our listeners do too.
Yeah.
So anyway, they weren't allowed to speak Hebrew. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu is a Hebrew speaker, but he was allowed to speak Hebrew, but Jonathan Pollard was not allowed to speak Hebrew, and there was a translator there. So Mordechai Eliyahu would speak in Hebrew, and it would be translated for the guards so that everyone knows what's going on. And then Pollard would have to answer in English. After a certain amount of time, the guard who was there, it was like they had like 3 hours. They had a 3-hour window, which is, I guess, a nice amount of time. But the guard said, you could stay longer. And they were like, well, why is that? And they noticed that while she was there listening.
Who?
I think it was the guard. It might have been the translator, but I think it was the guard. As she was there listening, she seemed kind of engaged in what was going on in a weird way. Like she would kind of laugh at certain times and things like that. But anyway, they're like, why do you let us? She's like, well, I'm a Presbyterian. I think it was a Presbyterian. And I am a big Bible lover. And I have been studying the Bible in Hebrew. And like the things, like most of your conversation was about like the Torah, and you gave Torah like insights that I've never heard before, and like you're special, and like keep going, basically. And this was a non-Jewish guard in the prison
in Butner.
Right,
That's
North Carolina.
That's
right.
Not Butler.
Sorry. Okay, so now we can keep going to the rest of the show.
All right, so here we go. Let's go to the rest of the show. Malkah Fleisher, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for joining me yesterday. Let's keep rocking together here on the Yishai Fleisher Show. Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, the Land of Israel Network, and it doesn't even matter. And all those platforms are on. The most important thing is that you are with us right now. Thank you for joining us from around the world. And shalom, Malkah. Shalom and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Yishai. Big mazel tov. Big mazel tov to you. Big mazel tov to all of our listeners out there and the people who are watching live. Today was, we went to sleep last night. And we woke up in the morning, and you know how it is. You hit your snooze, and then you might hit it again. And then you finally turn on your phone, and you just, go to the news just to help you wake up. And then we went to the news to help us wake up, and we're like, what? It turns out that Jonathan Pollard, who we all davened for, we all prayed for so long, finally made it to the land of Israel. There's video of him. We couldn't believe it. There's video of him with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
We are ecstatic to be home at last after 35 years. And we thank the people and the Prime Minister of Israel for bringing us home.
I wish we could kind of do like a side-by-side, play-by-play video that we could all go through like in slow-mo of what's happening as Jonathan Pollard lands. But it was a great video. It was a great moment.
Yeah, it was a great moment. And Jonathan, I think, was really, he looked great for a person who sat in like 30 years of prison, plus many of those years in solitary confinement. And this was, of course, if you don't know the story, he was convicted of passing information to an ally, which is passing secret information. He was a naval intelligence officer. And that in itself is maybe not such a great thing, right? Like giving away America's secrets was not a great thing to do. On the other hand, it wasn't secrets about America. It was secrets actually about the bad guys that Israel had collected, and he saw that it was not being passed as was promised to Israel, and he gave those secrets to Israel, which led to things. And all this information may come more to light now, but that's basically
it's definitely going to be a discussion again,
right?
It's going to. I already saw on Twitter today. Twitter are not always being the friendliest place for anybody. So
that's right.
John, any like of the greatest people on the earth would find like the most cynical takes about them happening on Twitter. But I saw people already starting to debate on Twitter whether Jonathan Pollard was in fact a hero. Maybe he's a villain. Maybe there are people who say that he made American Jews seem not trustworthy, especially in positions in the United States government. And there was a big debate already happening about Jonathan Pollard. But in my book, he is a big hero.
And in many people's books.
Right, and in many people's books.
And he's a hero also, by the way, for holding out and surviving,
right, that's
and
incredible.
Keeping his faith,
right,
and love of Israel,
right.
Even though Israel maybe disappointed him and didn't protect him at certain points, and so many good people. And right here, Paul Pesach Gray writes here, you spoke so much about him when you and I were on Arutz Sheva, Israel National Radio, for so many years. And
it's funny because Isha, you have this old tefillin box. You keep your tefillin in an old plastic box, nicely inside.
What color is it?
It's pink.
Right. Wait. Just so you know, what is an ice cream box? You might be outside of the land of Israel. In Israel, they come in these plastic Tupperware things.
Right, and they used to come in these like nice little pink plastic boxes, and you turned one into a case for your tefillin, which you put inside the velvet, or you put your velvet thingies inside the box, and then you put the box with the Tupperware, you close it up so that it stays nice and neat and doesn't get bumped and all that. And only recently I cleaned it for you. It had gotten kind of fingerprinty.
Sure.
And like worn out. And you said to me, I think it's time for me to get a new box or a new receptacle for my tefillin.
Right.
And I said, well, hang on a minute, give it to me. Maybe I can spruce it up a little bit. And I took some alcohol swabs to it and I rubbed it and one of the things that I had to do in order to kind of refurbish this pink plastic former ice cream box, which was now a tefillin case, was to remove a worn out, very small, size of like an American dime sticker. And there's the box. For those of you who are watching on one of our live stream platforms right now, you can actually see Yishai's tefillin case. Maybe you can open it up.
Right, well, this is where the little Pollard picture was.
So here, there was a picture right in the center where there was this like little nub place. We put a little sticker on top. And that picture for years and years and years was a picture of Jonathan Pollard.
So you got the sitter
in
here.
There's the Siddur, and you can see Yishai's tefillin. Oh, that's a special. That's an exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so the only reason we felt comfortable to remove that sticker is because Jonathan had finally come off of his, what's it called, home
arrest.
Home arrest, when they keep you in jail at home and your parole. Basically, they made him wear this tracking device and made his life difficult for him, even though he was not in jail anymore. So when he was finally snipped his electric tracking device, we said, okay, I guess it's okay now to take off the sticker. And now he is literally unglued from the United States of America altogether.
Not literally, sweetie. Figuratively.
Because
you can't be unglued literally
on
unless
the
you're
box
glued.
Came off, and it must have been some kind of symbolic ritual that we did. And now Jonathan Pollard is back.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
See,
He became
we
unglued.
took the glue off, and now it took off the spiritual glue.
Yeah. The only thing I was laughing is when you said they took off that tracking device off his leg. They gave him a different tracking device, the cell phone, right? That's the ultimate tracking device. But in any case, Jonathan Pollard is home. Malkah, for me personally, before I even go on, I just want to say hi to a lot of friends saying hi, but some old friends, some good old friends. Our good friend David Zucker says, "Shalom, old friends." It's so great to hear from you, David. And we got my buddy Jake. Good to see you,
Classic
Jake.
Sahel style tefillin case.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're absolutely right.
Keeping it safe.
Today they have more fancy tefillin cases, but you're right. Good friend Jake.
You were an early adopter, Yishai.
No, I was just early. It was just a long time ago. It was 20 years ago, right? And my good friend Eric says, "Shalom from Genève." Okay, Yishai and Malkah, thank you, Eric. God bless you. And shalom to everybody out there around the world who's saying hello. Thank you very much. And Moshe says, indeed, Pollard is a hero. So I want to tell you two things about Pollard. Okay, two stories. One story is, and you can look this up, I wrote an article a few years ago, it was 2012. Jonathan Pollard was in prison. And I came up with this idea that I should write an article that's titled, Jonathan Pollard is Dead. And then the first paragraph was, Jonathan Pollard passed away in Butler Prison, North Carolina, on such and such days from liver failure, blah, 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 blah. And the next paragraph was like, how did you feel reading that paragraph? Well, that's what could happen to our generation if we allow Jonathan Pollard to die.
Now, right.
I got it was 2012. I think it was before cell phones, or I don't know what. No, it was with cell phones, right? In any case, I got a raging phone call from Esther Pollard.
Jonathan's wife,
who's like, what the heck did you just write? And she was flipping out on me. And she's like, I'm like, it was a pro Jonathan article. And she's like, yeah, but I got in my Google, or I think it was Yahoo at the time, Yahoo News told her that Jonathan Pollard had died. She almost had a heart attack from it. But then as she's yelling at me, I'm like, Esther, did you read this article fully yet? She's like, no, and she's raging on me. I'm like, Esther, hang up the line, call me back in 10 minutes, okay? And if you're still angry, I'll do everything to make it right. And she called me back in 10 minutes, and she was like, all right, okay. she let it slide, because she understood that I was trying to evoke
Right.
the feeling of what would have been.
You're trying to trigger people like you triggered her.
Trigger, that's right. And
we weren't using that term back in those days.
No, we didn't know the term trigger.
Now we use it liberally.
We had the liberally? Anyway, trigger back then meant something else. In any case, Esther got upset, and so did a lot of other people, but thankfully that scenario did not
Baruch Hashem.
come to be. In fact, today it was a relief for me inside where I saw Jonathan Pollard coming off the plane. He looked great, and he spoke great.
He actually looked great.
He looked great.
I really wanted to talk about the video.
Yeah.
Because I think those of us who have been following the Pollard story and those of us who have advocated for Jonathan Pollard's release have also imagined the day when it finally happens, right? When he actually makes it to the land of Israel and what that will look like. Mm-hmm. In my mind, it was something like, in my mind's eye, it was like an aerial shot of above and this like little Jonathan Pollard and these like huge throngs of like 1 million Israelis surrounding him and like singing Am Yisrael Chai and Havenu Shalom Aleichem and all the like great stuff. Am Yisrael Lo Mefached. I don't know, all the great tunes of Jewish strength and Jewish togetherness. And the video that we saw of Jonathan Pollard was like so not that. It was basically, you see Prime Minister Netanyahu in like a nice wool, what are those kind of coats called? Those long coats, the nice suit coat.
Yeah.
The prime ministerial looking.
Shabbos coat.
Yeah, his Shabbos. He's wearing a Shabbos coat. And you see him, he's almost like breathing on his hands, like it's cold out here. It's just him. You like barely see a bodyguard. There's like one bodyguard or something like that. And Pollard comes off the plane. There's no like.
Well, but this was the best part.
There's no like little girl with flowers. There's no like Israeli flags flapping in the back and like 3,000 journalists. And it's just like Jonathan and Bibi.
Right.
And Esther.
No, but there was one more player, and that was Jonathan comes down off the plane, and he's about to shake hands, do the thing.
Netanyahu's about to give him the high five.
And he
gives him a finger. He gives him the finger, which is like, the 1 second finger.
And before he does anything, he goes down and he gives a kiss to the ground of the land of Israel. There's nothing like the taste of tarmac.
Yeah, it's the sweetest.
The taste of tarmac.
It's like honey. It's like
the taste of.
It's like milk and honey.
That's right. It's like milk and honey, but tarmac. Okay,
right,
and
but a little mineral-y. But Yishai, were standing here.
And then he got up, and then Prime Minister Netanyahu made a blessing.
He made a blessing on the releasing of prisoners. And you and I, Yishai, were standing here in this studio, excuse me, and we were both like crying as we were watching this video.
I had something in my eye.
Yes, I had tears in my eye. Yeah. I'll just say it openly.
Yeah.
And it was just such an incredible thing to see. And then I want to just say...
Wait, and then what about this part when Netanyahu was like this? He's like, oh yeah,
here you go.
This is actually a Tikkun Kaleli that I'm using
as an example.
As an example. Here, I'll do it on the backwards. He just goes, here you go. And
he's like, here, this is yours.
This is your Teudat Zehut. I have it right here for you.
Right. He like hands up with so lack of like pomp.
Yeah, it was just like, here, dude.
And it was just like, here's your Teudat Zehut.
You're gonna need this. You're gonna need
also,
this.
I don't know if you know, you're in Kupat Cholim Klalit.
We signed you up for Klalit.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say that part.
I've got my bank account of Pauline.
I heard Mizrahi Tzfachot is okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Talk to me about him.
Yeah, it was like I got Shoko in the back of my car. Yeah. Like hot Shoko.
Do you want Shoko? Do you like Shoko? That's Loma Farekta Betan.
Anyway, I on the one hand I was sad because I thought that Pollard deserved
hold on.
The epicness.
This is Naama writes, my grandparents kissed the ground when they got off the plane the one time in their lives when they visited in 1984.
That's very
nice. And we used to kiss the ground all the time, but now
they changed the airport structure.
Because kissing tarmac is one thing, but kissing jet sleeve, what's that called, jetway? Not the same,
Well, because you also don't touch the ground.
That's what I mean.
You come into Terminal 3, and then you go straight into the thingy, the regular airport thingy. And then until you get to the ground, you're like in the parking lot, basically, to where you get your car, and it's sort of lost its you lost steam by that time. But I want to just read what Pollard said when he arrived in Israel. And it was such a beautiful and You know, it reminded me a little bit, Yishai, of these coronavirus weddings. You know, it used to be back a long time ago that people used to have weddings and invite like over 100, over 200, sometimes even over 300 people to their weddings. And there would be big events called weddings, and people used to all be there. But now people are getting married in their parents' backyard, in the parks, in the gardens, and those weddings
in the walkways above the kotel.
Right.
My sister and her husband Daniel, who officiated a wedding right now with a kind of overlook, which is just like a it's like a park, a little mini tiny park.
Like that overlook. It's an overlook
Right.
to the kotel, and
That's
it's
right.
a nice little stopping point when you want to take your selfie in front of the kotel. And this couple actually moved up their wedding a few days because there was the coronavirus lockdown.
Let's get to it though.
But yeah, the point is that now you have these like simple, much simpler weddings, which are actually extremely lovely and poignant.
That's right.
Because they're so intimate and they're so small, and that's kind of what the Jonathan Pollard landing was. It was
Right.
It was tsanua, as they say. It was
Right.
It was modest, but it was like very powerful. And I just want to read this short thing that Pollard said when he came. He said, "We are ecstatic to be home at last after 35 years, and we thank the people and the Prime Minister of Israel for bringing us home. No one could be prouder of this country or this leader than we are. And we hope to become productive citizens as soon and as quickly as possible and to get on with our lives here. This is a wonderful country. It has a tremendous future. It is the future of the Jewish people, and we're not going anywhere."
Touche, Jonathan Pollard.
And he said that after like a big, long flight.
You know what though? He said it in such a
Natural.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no paper. He didn't read anything.
Yeah, but it was also like, I'm home.
Ugh.
There was something beautiful about it. Now, I want to
So nice.
I just want to take it one last tack on this issue of Jonathan Pollard. One more turn, and that is that when I used to live in the United States, let's say about 20 years ago, I had a lot of things that were bothering me about the United States. Jonathan Pollard was a big one, that he was in prison. The non-recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel was another one. Another one was the funding of the PLO, who had a pay for slave program, the PAPLO. Another one was the fact that the UN sits in New York and is mostly funded by the United States, and therefore this tool for modern day anti-Semitism was supported by the United States. And there were other things, including the recurring demand for a two-state solution and to get rid of Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria, and other things, including campus anti-Semitism that bothered me. All these things together just were things that just I said to myself, yeah, I know America's pro-Israel, but, and bothered me. And I just want to say that this administration, this Trump administration, has done so much to one by one fix those things as much as possible. Jerusalem recognized, PLO defunded, Pollard is home, Iran nuclear deal is reversed, at least for the meantime, et cetera, and you guys all know the lists. But I just want to say, wow, wowie zowie, and the wowie here, and the zowie within the wowie is that there's a characteristic of a midah of emet. Truth. These other things were lies. It was a lie to not recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. It was a lie to talk about liberal values, but to support the PLO that murders Jews and pays for it. These things were lies. And to not call out UN anti-Semitism is a lie. By the way, parenthetically, I personally don't believe that Israel should be in the organization called the United Nations, and that is because, and I'm speaking about this almost dispassionately and mathematically, which is, why would you want to be inside an organization that is mathematically proven to be an anti-Semitic organization? Mathematically proven is that the overwhelming decisions and declarations of the resolutions are anti-Israel. And so
they spend a ton of time on it.
Right. It's overwhelming amount of time. And so you're like, this is a prima facie, a unquestionable, undeniable anti-Semitic organization. And so why should Israel be inside of it? When Israel is inside of it, it legitimizes it. In any case, that's an aside. My point is that with Pollard coming home, it's another success of the Trump administration, and not necessarily was this specifically having to do with Trump. But you know what? Let's put it this way: had the wheels not been greased, he could have been around. They would have let him out on, found ways not to let him out on parole, et cetera, et cetera. The point is that yet another victory for truth in our time. I really do think that Israel's in way better position right now to engage the future. And another truth is that Arabs and Jews don't need to be enemies. We are cousins. We share a region. And there's no reason for us not to cooperate and to help each other and to make this region a fabulous, lively region. We're very used to
We've
war.
already started.
Right. I'm saying that's another aspect of it, which is the Abraham Accords, which I'm so excited about.
And it's already making the region better.
It's making the region better.
It's like already the wheels are churning and
Right.
money is pumping into the region and cooperation, which will lead to so many amazing things.
So one last phrase on that, and I'm done for now, for this minute, which is that with regional cooperation.
Sorry, Yishai.
You threw me off. Here we go. Regional cooperation.
I was just so enthusiastic about what you were saying.
That's absolutely right, and there's nothing wrong with it. And there are great projects in the future. By the way, Saudi Arabia, they're building a huge new capital city.
Oh, is that right?
Called Neom. Neom on the
why?
It's a whole thing. It's really cool stuff. It's really neat stuff what's happening there. But our region is going to be blessed. And again, a victory for truth. There was another point, but I forgot it. I'll let it go. It'll come back to me. We've already done war. We've done war for the last 100 years. Now we're going to do awesomeness and prosperity for this region. And the bad guys, they're just going to have to,
find something else.
Yeah, finding something else to do. Flip some burgers or something like that.
Or there's lots of other good stuff. It can be more more excellent than that.
Malkah, there is a news story right now which I think is very interesting, and that is that you're going to laugh at this a little bit.
Okay.
But where is that story? There's the article that I was telling you about Jonathan Pollard, Don't Let Pollard Die.
Right.
The other story that I wanted to tell you about was that the Colosseum is going to be restored. It's a renovation project right now in the Colosseum in Rome that will restore and preserve the Colosseum's technology, but will also actually
restore the Colosseum's technology.
Yeah, in the end, they actually want the arena to be used for high culture, concerts, and theater.
And the occasional.
There are no plans for fighting. There are no plans for fighting to the death. But they want to make. That's not
authentic.
They want to make the Colosseum great again, and I get that a lot. But
that'll be a funny hat.
Right. But you see, the thing is that people don't know, Malkah, is that the Colosseum was built with the money that was taken from the temple.
Pillaged from
the destroyed Second Temple. And I say, if the Colosseum is getting another run, and this time going to be a kinder, gentler Colosseum,
yes,
it's cool. I am looking forward to
making the temple great again.
That's right, to a Temple 3.0. Working and being active again, and being a place for high culture, not concerts and theater, but of service of God in Yerushalayim, and being a light unto the nations and a house of prayer for all nations. So I'm excited about that. I saw that Colosseum story. I'm like, good for you, Colosseum.
Maybe that's a sign.
You're back,
that
right?
Old stuff is becoming cool again.
Yeah, right. You're coming back. We're coming back as well, Colosseum.
That's awesome. Right. Well, there's more good news out there.
I just want to say hi to my mom who's watching right now.
Yes.
Hi, Mom. God bless you. Savta, we love you so much.
Savta, along with so many other people, are in line to get the coronavirus vaccine. And so far, 650,000 Israelis have been vaccinated. There's
Wait. 650,000 Israelis in what? In like 2-3 days?
Yeah, it's basically the whole world is like, okay, let's get and Israel's like, let's get vaccinated and everybody get in line and we're opening up 2 months worth of thing and everybody make sure that you get it. And they like imported like
here in our
millions
town.
of
Here in our town, there's like
doses.
a drive-in now. There's like a drive-in.
I don't think that's a drive-in for getting the vaccine. I think that it is a coronavirus testing drive-in.
Whatever. Test it.
Close.
Test it.
Very,
plug
very
it.
close.
Yeah.
No, actually, here where we live, they are not going to be. Like at least in the near future, they don't plan on giving the vaccine here in town.
What are you talking about? This town is the leader of vaccine giving.
I don't think they're giving the vaccine.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, then I must not be up on what's down.
I've been watching the mayor's tweeting. Okay, Oded Ravivi, and he is very proud that we are number one in the Judea and Samaria region for giving vaccines.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here it is. בפראג כבר אתמול חצינו את רף 25. מספר ושיעור המתחסנים.
No, those are the people who
בגיל
are.
60.
Those are the number of residents who have been vaccinated.
All right, whatever.
They're not giving the vaccine here.
In any case, people are getting vaccinated, and you know what?
I believe that's my understanding. But the point is that Israelis
Monica says, "Do you both support the vac?"
That's a great question. So the answer to that is yes, we do support the vaccine. Happens to be that we are also not running to get the vaccine. First of all, we are not yet over 60 or in the high-risk group. And my understanding is that they only have 10 more days left of vaccine vials. And people also need to get it for the second time, I think, in 3 weeks from now. We're optimistic. We see a lot of people who are getting vaccinated. Most Israelis are extremely proud and showing pictures of themselves getting vaccinated. All kinds of people of all different ages and all different parts of Israeli society are going to get vaccinated.
My mom says, like, we're tired of this thing. We want to get out of this sickness.
Right. I'm not a chemist and I'm not a scientist, and it's hard to know. Just like it's so hard to know about a lot of things, you have to kind of make your own determination. We have not been vaccinated yet. My guess is that eventually we will be vaccinated, but we haven't been, and we're not racing to be vaccinated. But we certainly support the people who are, and we're very happy for everyone because everyone seems to be very hopeful about it.
I think that's what it is. I think. Let's put it this way: the atmosphere is very positive here in Israel, and we're hoping that it does work. Do we have our fears and doubts? Yeah, I think a lot of people have fears and doubts. Do we know what the long term?
You can't possibly know what the long-term effects are, or what the long-term.
I don't know.
So far, it seems that only 1 in 1,000 people who have been vaccinated here in Israel have had any side effect that's been reported. Something like 50 people, something like that, had side effects that they sought medical attention for. But otherwise, people seem to be feeling okay so far on their first round of vaccine.
Let's not even go.
We are neither advocates for nor detractors of necessarily the vaccine. We are just regular citizens on this one who are just waiting to see how it goes and hoping that everybody's just going to be healthy.
And I'm happy that people are feeling hopeful. And let's just say what we say when we don't really know. And here's my friend Shlomo Wolfish. It says, why would you support something you know nothing about? And I know Shlomo's totally against this. And that's fine. Shlomo.
Right. Some people are,
fine. I'm not going to, there are certain issues that I'm going to weigh in on because they're my issues. With regarding to this, the only thing I can weigh in on is to say, B'ezrat Hashem, people should be healthy. And I know members of my family and friends of mine are vaccinating, and let's hope that there's good results because a lot of people are doing it, and I dare say that the majority of people are going to end up doing it.
Right, and there definitely is like a groundswell of social support for the vaccine. I thought that there was going to be much more hesitancy overall towards taking the vaccine, and it doesn't. I'm sure I know for a fact that privately there are many people who also are not necessarily like.
And we have some friends, including Shlomo, but including my good friend Alex, who is like totally against it. There's some people who are
like, I will never get this vaccine.
And my friend Aaron, right now watching on YouTube with a cute picture of a pig, a little pig. Aaron, God bless you, Aaron Amihud. Aaron's got a great sense of humor. He always has. He says, I took the vaccine today.
Right, good. You should only be healthy, Aaron, and everybody else.
I think the right nomenclature is, though, did you take a vaccine?
Yes.
Did you receive a vaccine?
Well, you could say I took the vaccine.
I was vaccinated.
I think
anyway,
you could say that.
you should only be
should
healthy.
just be healthy.
And that's the most important thing.
There is one question that I have about the vaccine that comes actually from a totally different article that I read, which is that Israel appears to be mulling bringing back tourists starting in April.
Is that Pesach?
Pesach time,
Yeah.
basically, when is like really kicks off the season of tourists in the spring. And the health ministry on Tuesday says that they're starting to outline what it will look like when tourists come back. But the thing is, I would think that after like the whole country pretty much, or so much of the country is going to be vaccinated, the story would pretty much end there. We're bringing in tourists starting in April. But that is not what it looks like. Basically, there's going to be a huge bureaucracy, not red tape, I guess a bureaucracy around coming as a tourist starting in April. Israeli operators that want to host foreign tourists will have to fill out special forms, submit them with the tourism ministry. The tourism ministry will have to receive all information about where they're going, when, where they're going to be accommodated, who the tour guide is going to be. The group leader will have to carry a cell phone with an Israeli number that authorities can contact. The tourism ministry is going to develop a dedicated phone app to monitor group movements. And that I find this stuff, and you need to visitors will have to purchase special insurance to cover potential coronavirus quarantine or treatment if needed. Maybe this has to do with them needing treatment for coronavirus or something like that. But if so many Israelis are going to be vaccinated, then why this like very strong need to track the every movement of every person who comes in?
I think we're still very much in process of figuring it out, Malkah, and I think that they just don't know what it's all going to look like. Folks, this is the pandemic of our time,
Right.
And I've got so many friends. You could call a friend, and they're like, dude, it's a plandemic, dude. The whole thing is
Great
laid
Reset.
out, and they have it all figured out. And this thing is going to. My good friend laid out to me how this thing is going to lead to a great economic collapse in the United States, and that's going to lead to global market fluctuations. And then the World Economic Forum is going to swoop in and say we could fix it for you, but you have to accept this, the Great Reset, and all that. By the way, I'm not saying that is bunk. I'm saying I don't know
This
exactly.
is what's out there.
I am keeping there's things that I know. I know that Jews have right to live in Judea. I know that we have a proud... Oh, I remember the thing that I wanted to say. It finally came back to me. It finally came back to me. I wanted to say before, and this
the
ties
Zowie
in.
within the Wowie.
Yeah, but if you keep interrupting me, Malkah, that's gonna be the end of it. I'm gonna forget it. No, just joking. I'm gonna remember it this time. Wait, hold on one second.
No.
Wait.
No!
I got it. I wanted to say that in terms of political philosophy, I just wanted to lay out for people something. People are sometimes a little bit surprised that a nationalist, an Israeli nationalist, a Jewish Israeli nationalist, or a nationalist that's for a Jewish state in the land of Israel would be so supportive of the Abraham Accords. And the answer is actually that for people like myself, strong Arab states in cooperation with Israel is exactly what we're talking about the whole time. See, we're not xenophobic or racist or anything like that. We just believe in an ethnic national Jewish state, a strong ethnic national state for the Jewish people with national self-determination on this land, in cooperation with strong ethnic national Arab states around us. That is the vision for the Middle East. We want to be in cooperation with the strong Arab states. And when there are strong, proud Arab states around us that appreciate Israel for what it is and don't have intentions of trying to take away our land or shrink our land and all that, and want to cooperate, that's great. That's totally great. It's not that we, hate Arabs racially or anything like that. God forbid. Nothing of the sort. Nothing even approaching that. The opposite. But taking away our land, shrinking the Jewish character of the state of Israel, trying to use its democracy against itself, etc. These are things that we are concerned about, that we warn about, that we're fighting against. And so that's why a nationalist is very excited about the international Abraham Accords for a Semitic Arab Jewish region. and other minorities as well. There are many other minorities. And I think in a few weeks, I think I'm debating or really having a discussion with a pro-Palestinian Armenian descent Arab living in the Jewish quarter in Jerusalem. So there's other minorities, many other minorities in our region, but we're really part of this alliance. That's what I want to say about that.
Nice,
so,
you did it, nailed it.
Yeah, thank God. Okay, whew. Let's just take a look at what is being talked about out there.
Some of the comments here, and we want to thank you if you're listening on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube.
See, look, now we're getting in trouble with taking the middle ground. Taking a neutral stance or standing in the middle only emboldens the conspiracy theories around coronavirus, which can and will cost people's lives. Levi says that. Hey, Levi, dude, it's like. You gotta know your issues and hold your ground. With regarding to this, I'm going to lean more with the majority, especially about when it comes to the vaccine, which people that I trust very much have said to me, they believe this is good, that they're doing it. I'm going to lean on that. But on issues of, there are some weird things going on here, man. Levi, there are some weird things going on here. Where this virus came from and how. The world has been shut down from it. There are some questions, and I can't help myself. There are sometimes questions. By the way, I have questions about things like the Rabin murder, okay, which is right now a hot topic again, because a friend of mine, famous lawyer Yoram Sheftel, is trying to take up the case of Yigal Amir.
Oh wow, he's appealing?
He's not appealing the murder charge. He's appealing the conditions by which he's being kept, which he says are way worse than Eichmann's condition when he was held here in Jerusalem. So my point to you is that, yes, there are some questions out there, and sometimes...
You're right that it's so important not to fall into conspiracy theories and to go wild and to lose control.
Right.
Definitely, without a question. On the other hand, I guess that also, for me, I won't speak for you, but for me, I balk at a society which seems like increasingly against the idea that you would ask a question or have an alternative thought, even if your thought is wrong. It's almost like you're not even allowed to have a wrong thought, right? And I want to stand up for my right to have a question mark in my head. And it's like we're all socially shamed and socially pressured and governmentally shamed and pressured. I understand that on Facebook, for example, they're taking down posts that are against the coronavirus vaccine. Now, that's not me, right? I'm not sharing posts against the coronavirus vaccine, and I'm not such a Facebook person myself, but I haven't seen that stuff. But the thought that you're not even allowed to say that, you're forbidden to say it, that freaks me out. So yeah, we do take the middle ground. I think that, and I think that a lot of people... I think we take the middle ground
because we're not sure.
We just don't know the answers because we're not doctors and we're not scientists. And I like to believe that this vaccine is incredible and is going to save us from this horrible situation.
Absolutely.
I like to think that, but it would be irresponsible. It would be irresponsible and a lie for me to say that I know that because I don't know that.
I think that we are living in a time of intellectual control, or at least monitoring, big data monitoring. That's for sure. Okay, we are really we're living in a time where I remember when the internet came out, it was a place of freedom, of knowledge. And now today, you think twice about searching a weird item because you just know that's being...
It's going to be stored. That piece of information will be stored on you, right?
And so we're living in a weird time. There's some weird stuff going on here. And I'm keeping I'm keeping limber intellectually. Frankly, I would say I'm staying curious. That's how I would redo it. It's not that I'm keeping...
okay. It's still allowed to ask questions. It's like your basic human right.
Right.
Everyone talks about human rights.
So it's not middle ground. It's curiosity. It's intellectual curiosity. And I'll tell you the truth. I speak to a lot of people. I ask people, what do you think? What do you think? And I get very different answers. There are things that I know in my life that are true. And then there are things that I don't know, and I ask other smart people, and I recommend we do the same. Malkah, we're at the 40-minute mark.
Yeah, we're running out of time. Maybe we would like to talk about our wonderful Torah portion this week.
Yes, we have such a special Torah portion, Malkah. And on the podcast, you could hear my long discussion with a famous Israeli spokesman of the Jewish community of Hebron, Noam Arnon, one of the fabulous intellectuals of our time.
Great.
Really, we talk about the portion. It's the last Torah portion in the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis.
So hard every year. I do not like saying goodbye to the book of Bereshit.
That's right. The book of Genesis is
so
ending.
much good stuff happens
and
there.
It's ending with a very powerful kind of conglomeration of the whole forefathers and mothers thing. In fact, right at the very end, I kind of found this today, right at the very end of the book of Bereshit, Joseph mentions Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the forefathers. That's going to be a refrain that you're going to hear a lot in the next book, immediately in the book of Shemot, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so we have there the commandment that Jacob makes, well, just 1 second, I'll take a break. And Levi says, who questioned before about the middle ground, he says, I do understand the point you're both making. Thank you for your candor in this matter. God bless you.
Thank you for bringing up an interesting question.
Absolutely. And one that we, as you could see, are struggling with. In any case, the Torah portion is Vayechi. Jacob is going to make his son Joseph swear to him, take me out of the land of Egypt and bury me in the land of Israel with my fathers. That's an oath that Joseph is going to take. Then Jacob is going to do the blessings for the rest of the brothers, all of the brothers, the 12 sons of Jacob, and really the 12 tribes. And then finally he's going to pass away and be taken to Hebron. And Joseph, on the other hand, is not going to be taken to Hebron when he passes away. He says, when it's time for the Jewish people to exit, to do the great
Just
Exodus.
Just park me here in this parking spot.
Right, I'm right here with ya, which is a different type of, how do we say in English? Bchina, different aspect. There's the tzaddik, the righteous person who leaves and goes to the land of Israel, and then there's one that stays with you, and he's the light of the exile, but then he says, take me with you. Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me, right?
I am coming with you.
With you. Yes. Okay. There you go. So that's a very beautiful thing. Now, folks, we really are, I hope that you're enjoying this live show, and I'd love to hear from you. So write me an email, yishai@yishaifleisher.com or yishai@thelandofisrael.com. I want to wish everybody out there a Shana Tova Umetuka, a happy and sweet new year.
Yes.
And you may say to me, Yishai, why would you...
It's not our new year.
Right, this is the new year of Julius Caesar. Why are you so excited about wishing everybody a new year? Rabbi Herschel Reichman, one time came into the synagogue at Yeshiva University when I was studying there in New York City, and he said...
On January 1st.
On January 1st, and it was snowing, and he goes, Shana Tova Umetuka, Happy New Year. We said to him, Rabbi, and he said, any reason to give blessings is good, so we want to give everybody a blessing. It's also the end of the fiscal year.
2020.
In 2020, in the fiscal, financial, economic sense of it. Okay? And this is a good time to...
What it says on your computer screen.
Right. It's a good time to get rid of any excesses. It's like Rosh Hashanah le taxation, okay, le masrot. And so if you want to give anything to support our programming, our podcast, our other work, including a big project that I'm working right now to educate about Route 60, and we'll be the biblical highway. We'll be revealing more of that soon. But we're working very hard to teach Israeli Knesset members and others of the importance of this historical highway and our radio show and all that we do, our podcast that we do weekly. If it's important to you, then please go to yishaifleisher.com/support and do just that. Join me and make Israel stronger together. That's something that we do. So that's yishaifleisher.com/support. Makes a huge difference. Every shekel counts. Every agura counts. Okay, agura is like a penny
right.
in Israel. It makes a big difference. That's yishaifleisher.com/support. We have many contributors and sponsors of the show.
Right.
I'm not going to go through
some of our listeners are some of our most dear supporters. And
That's
we
right.
really want to thank you so much for the multifaceted support. Obviously, there's support through the support page and financial contributions, but also beautiful messages, sometimes just cards with pictures of the family.
Absolutely.
Doing different things throughout the year, and we just love it, and we really appreciate your friendship.
And the 5-star rating on any of the podcast outlets or anything else like that. That also helps a lot.
Helps a lot.
Maybe I will just very quickly mention some of our sponsors. We have a new sponsor of the show called Aleph Mail, alephmail.com. It's for...
let's feel.
Yeah, it's for... Stop it. It's for, it's a beard balm for Aleph males, for strong, powerful, from Israel masculinity.
I can see an ad. They're like the mom and sitting with the daughter.
Yeah.
And she's like, honey, it's time for you to start dating in Shidduchim. What kind of boy do you want to date? And she's like, well, I don't know, Mommy, as long as he's an Aleph male.
Okay? So that's alephmale.com. And coupon code Yishai10 will get you 10% off. And my slogan is, go from a rabbi to a sage. Okay? That's my slogan on that. Another sponsor.
You got a commission on that one.
Yeah. Another sponsor that we have of the show is the great people at Hebron, hebronfund.org. The great Jewish community of Hebron protects, defends, beautifies the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs, and makes it accessible and open to all of us. Those brave people are in the front line for us. Help them by going to hebronfund.org. Prohibition Pickle. My good friend Chaim makes the best darned pickles in the land of Israel. He makes our Shabbos awesome by tricking out our Kiddush. And you could trick out your Kiddush or anybody in the land of Israel, because he only delivers so far only in Israel. But if you've got a friend in Israel, or if you live in Israel and you want some great pickles, check out Prohibition Pickle on Instagram and on Facebook, and order it for yourself or a friend, a loved one, or your best favorite radio show hosts, okay? And also, Blessed by Israel. Oh, so that was Prohibition Pickle. Prohibition Pickle. Lou Weiss makes it a little bit more Sephardi. He says, from a rabbi to a chacham. That's
nice.
right.
Aleph male.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. To a chacham. That's right. I like that a lot, Lou. I like that a lot. And I'll be doing actually an event for Lou in just a little over a week, I think, for the Golden Age crowd in Modi'in. All right,
Fun.
We're gonna go through the 7 holy cities.
Oh, beautiful!
And Lou is a strong Jew in the land of Israel, and he just went from a rabbi to a chacham. Okay,
yeah, nice.
And also, Blessed by Israel, blessedbyisrael.com. What do you do with Blessed by Israel? You buy stuff and you get blessed through Israel, ships all over the world.
And you are a blessing to Israel
and
by
you're a blessing
supporting
to Israel.
businesses in Judea and Samaria.
And then you're getting it back. You're paying it forward. Okay?
That's right. And sideways.
And sideways. And like a boomerang to yourself. And so that's Blessed by Israel. And if you
Salves of Jerusalem.
Wait, hold on. Didn't get there yet.
Sorry.
Hold on. You can get, for example, like great food and olive oil and neat stuff from the land of Israel. And if you type in coupon code Yishai, you get 12, count them, 12 tribes, % off there. That's the coupon code Yishai. Oh, Lou says, so silly of me, says less than a week, January 6th. Sorry,
it's
Lou.
Coming right up.
A lot of stuff is going on in life, so sorry about that. And I'll be totally prepared and psyched to speak with the Modine crowd.
Be there on time.
I will be there on time and prepared. And also, finally, Salves of Jerusalem. You could get your soul glow, okay? You could get your Mo glow, your Moses glow, when you put on Salves. Mo glow, I came up with that. You get your Mo glow, okay? You get a little Mo glow, okay? When you Salves of Jerusalem, everything is made in Israel, and it gets out to you. Also, coupon code Yishai, Salves of Jerusalem.
We got you moisturized on the show.
We got you moisturized, and remember what we say about Salves of Jerusalem. Mind the myrrh. Okay?
Mind the myrrh,
Mind
yeah.
the myrrh.
And now's the time. You got the dryness, you got the winter, you're inside, and the heat.
That's right.
You go out into the cold. Bad for the elbows.
Today's show is dedicated to Jonathan Pollard. Jonathan, thank you for your incredible strength and commitment for what you did to protect Israel, and also your staying alive and not letting us have a stain on our generation, but persevering all the way to come home. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Esther, for supporting Jonathan all these years.
You should just be healthy, Esther. She should have
Esther,
a refuah
Esther
shlema.
needs a refuah shlema. She has cancer, and again, with great self-sacrifice.
Absolutely.
Leaving her doctors in America to come here so that Jonathan and herself could live fulfill that dream. That's really amazing. And
they're very strong people, really an inspiration.
And the Director General of the Jewish community of Hebron, Uri Karzan, Shelley, his wife, told me that Esther was a many times guest at their house.
Oh.
And we are looking forward, and we'll be releasing a video inviting Jonathan Pollard to Hebron soon. We are right now broadcasting from between Hebron and Jerusalem, these holy cities, and Bethlehem nearby. Such an honor and such a privilege and such a gift to be able to live here and to broadcast from here to the world. There's an incredible light that's coming from Israel. It's the realest thing in the world, and it's really a reflection of God's great munificence that He has given us the opportunity in this time to fulfill that ancient vision. And it's really a land of blessings, and we send you our blessings from the land of blessings.
That's right.
All right, Malkah. So Shabbat Shalom. On the podcast, if you're listening on podcast, we'll stay tuned right now because we're going to go next to Noam Arnon talking about the Torah portion. So that's on the podcast. That's the Yishai Fleisher Israel podcast. You can find it on any of your podcast systems and leave us a high rating there. And for you folks out here that we are so happy to host, including Naama, who says, "Voices from the path of the patriarchs. Bury me in Eretz HaKodesh. Yasher Koach." She's given us strength. Thank you very much, Naama. And Penny says, "Beautifully said, Yishai. We always have taken a cooperated mode with regarding to Arabs and Jews. Now, with the help of God, the Arab countries around us will also cooperate with us." Thank you very much, Penny. And as Monica says, she says, "Safety, mutual recognition, and peace." So thank you very much out there for being with us on the show. If you want more of Yishai and Malkah on Facebook and on live stream like this, on video live stream, then you've got to push us to do it more. So you got to
give
send
us tons of compliments.
Yeah, a lot of
something about how good we look.
That's right. We life is busy.
How you need to see us, or your day's bad.
There's nothing like us in your background, something like that. So if you do write us an email, write me yishai@fleisher.com, yishai@thelandofisrael.com, hashtag more Malkah. Okay, that's right. A hashtag more Malkah. That would be great. So Laila Tov from the land of Israel, and blessings from the land of blessings, and shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show. Part 2 of the show is with Noam Arnon, who's the legendary spokesman of the Jewish community of Hebron, and who has been part of the rebirth of Hebron, one of the central pillars of the rebirth of Hebron, including already in 1979, 1980, digging up the Avram Avinu synagogue, which was destroyed in the 50s and 60s, and then returned to the Jewish people when the Jewish people began to come back to Hebron, to the city, which you guys know that I work for, have the great honor to work for, which is really working for the forefathers and mothers. And Noam, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Yishai. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you, Noam. It's fun to be with you in your office, and it's fun to be with you in Hebron here, next to the.
Please don't describe what you see here.
That's right.
Here.
I won't tell them about your messy office. But you know, right next door is the Avram Avinu synagogue, which you helped bring out of garbage, the refuse that it was covered in by the Jordanians. In the 50s and 60s until we came back here after the 6-Day War. There's even a picture of you as a young man helping dig up the synagogue. Right now, there's a little bit of background noise. I don't know if the listeners can hear, but they're putting in a new layer of waterproofing and protection. Kichle, what's it called?
Kochle,
right?
It's cement, a sort of hydraulic cement.
Okay, so the hydraulic cement, they're putting it in right now. And I just, it's two Jewish guys are fixing the place up, and the story keeps going. Noam, the reason I asked to have you on today is because we're in the Torah portion of Vayechi. And Vayechi is the very end. It's the signature, the finishing off of the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshit, also known as the book of the Yashar, the book that is really the pillars of the whole Jewish story. The whole Jewish story rests on this thing. And that's how the Torah portion reads. And it is also, for our purposes, a kind of Chayei Sarah 2. It is the kind of recapping of the story of the purchase of the Marat Machpelah by Abraham. And this is going to be in the mouth of Yaakov as he's telling his children the story. And he's not saying it in the land of Israel. He's saying it in Egypt. He's dying in Egypt. Now, here's a weird dichotomy. The rabbis say that he actually had beautiful 17 years. He had a beautiful time. He was in Miami. He was in Boca, with the kids, right? No, not Boca?
Lehavdil.
Lehavdil, okay.
Okay, but anyhow, it's Chutz La'aretz anyhow.
Right, it's Chutz La'aretz. That's my point. That's my point. He's having this beautiful time. Okay, maybe he's not playing shuffle deck or whatever it is, but he is having a wonderful time there. And it's because he's with his family, with his children, grandchildren, probably great-grandchildren. And he is with Yosef, who is his beloved son. On the other hand, the Torah portion will begin, and we're talking about the book of Genesis, Bereshit, Mem Zayin 47. And it says that he lived there 17 years. And then suddenly it'll say that it's time for Israel to pass away, to die. And he calls Joseph and he says, if I have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh and do with me a kindness. Do a kindness with me. Do not bury me in Egypt. Noam, whenever I speak to groups, I always say to them, I ask them where they're from. And then I say, and then Jacob said to Joseph, don't bury me in Florida, don't bury me in Memphis, don't bury me in New York. And they laugh every time. Jews get that joke because Jews want to be buried here in the land of Israel. First question I had for you is this phrase, put your hand under my thigh.
It's better to come alive than to come after that.
Right, it's better to come. Well, you can come on the airplane either sitting or laying down. So there you go. Noam, simna yadcha tachat yerechi. What do you think that means? Put your hand under my thigh. The only other place that we have this expression is with the servant of Abraham in Parshat Chayei Sarah, which is he makes him swear to find a wife for Isaac and not to bring Isaac to Chutz La'aretz. What is this now? Our sages, some of our sages believe this means holding on to the circumcision, which is this beloved commandment. But on the simple level, it
means you somehow recognize that you are below me, and you get commandments from me, you get orders from me, and then you will obey. This is the meaning of this sentence.
If you put a hand under somebody's thigh, you can really feel their warmth. You can feel their blood. You can feel their weight. You really feel the person. It's a very,
And you somehow you make yourself down under him, and you say, okay, I'm under you. You will tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm. So he says, but don't bury me in Egypt. For me personally, my father passed away in New York City. But I told my mom immediately, as he passed away, I said, Mom, we cannot bury him in America. And she said to me, there, at this very tough moment, she goes to me, of course not. And we flew father to Eretz Yisrael. But he keeps going, he says, V'shachavti im avotai. I will lay with my fathers. Unasatani. And you carry me, mi Mitzrayim, ukvartani bekvuratam. And you shall bury me in their burial place. Vayomer anochi asek et dvarecha. He said, and Joseph answered him, I'll do as you have told me. But then Yaakov gets to the old way that he talked with Esav. Vayomer hishavali. He says, swear to me. It's not enough. Vishavalo vishtachu Yisrael rosh mitah. He swore to him that he would do this thing, and Israel bowed on the head of the bed. So tell me a little bit about this issue of making an oath not to be buried in Egypt, to be taken by his children to the land of Israel.
Well, we have to pay attention that actually there were 2 times that Jacob ordered his sons to bring him to Hebron. The first is, as you said now, to Yosef. And this was Yosef as vice president or
viceroy, they call
yes.
it. Yeah.
So he has the meaning, he has the means to fulfill this commandment. I mean, to organize this the whole operation. You have to, to flew bodies on Elal. It's not simple. You have to make the whole operation. So it was under the authority of Yosef. And then Yaakov called all his sons to give him the blessings in the end of the portion. And then he says again to all his sons, all of them together, gathered around his bed.
Deathbed.
And he orders again, take me home. Take me home. Take me home.
That's right.
Take me to my fathers, please. So why did Yaakov have to do this twice? first to Yosef, and then to all his sons. I think Yaakov, in his last minutes, because these are the last words, the last will and testimony of Yaakov in the world, in this world. Why he thinks this is the most important thing he has to say to his sons. I think Yaakov, in the last minutes, thinks what's going to be in the future. Will my sons continue my way? Will my sons continue to be Jews? Will they continue to carry the light and to be different from their environment, from their neighbors? Will they keep their Jewish identity? How can I ensure the future of the Jewish people? And now he gets to a conclusion. If my sons are connected to my fathers, I mean, if we connect the generations, if we connect the heritage, and my sons and my grandsons and great-grandsons will feel they have these holy figures to be connected to, this is the mean that they will continue to deliver this idea to the next generation. So he says, now, not only Yosef. Of course, Yosef could do it alone. He was a king. He was order 12 limousines. Take this Aaron and carry it to Hebron. But no, he sends to all his sons, I want you all to be there with me, with my fathers. You have to know where is the place of Abraham, of Yitzchak, of Sarah, of Rivka, of Leah. I'm sure they went also to Rachel to visit. And this is the way that you will be connected, and you will carry on the idea of Judaism to the future. So this is, I think, Yaakov, and actually Yaakov was right, because it's a fact that his sons and grandsons continued to be Jewish, continued to לא שינו את שמם ולא שינו את לבושם.
They didn't change their clothes or their names.
And their belief.
Right.
And they were in the first time they were in Egypt, the first some dozens of years, they were free men. They were not slaves yet.
Right.
But as free men, they were involved in all the Egyptian economy, Egyptian science, Egyptian universities, whatever. But they remained Jews. They didn't assimilate. This is thanks to Yaakov and his vision how to connect his generations to come to his fathers.
I think you have a story about that, about a famous musician.
Yes. Well, I had the privilege to be here in Hebron, in Me'arat HaMachpelah, with a famous musician called Ehud Banai.
From a famous musical family, the Banai family is...
Yes, the whole Banais, and the very famous. Now, he began his way as not dati.
He was secular
Jew. And then he came to visit in one of the nights to Me'arat HaMachpelah. In the middle of the night, we were standing near the Tzion, the monument of Yaakov, and I opened the Chumash, I opened the Torah, and I read these verses about the willing of Yaakov, and I saw this man getting white and beginning to shake, and something happened to him. Well, of course, to stand, you can imagine, to stand in the middle of the night near the Matzeva, the Tzion, the monument of Yaakov, and read this from the Torah and say, well, this is here, this is him. It's a very emotional feeling. But his reaction was much more emotional. I asked, what's going on with you? And he said, you won't believe. Now he told me a story that if I didn't hear it, I couldn't imagine. His father was named Yaakov Banai. His father was also an actor or something like that. Now his father passed away. And at that time, they were not dati, not the father, not the son. And he didn't say Kaddish on his father. Now one of the nights, he saw Yaakov in his dream. Yaakov came and said to me, my son, Al na tikbereni b'Mitzrayim. Don't leave me out. Take me to my fathers. Connect me to my fathers. Connect me to the roots. He was so, to see his father saying him and begging him, Al na tikbereni, don't leave me out, please. He began to say Kaddish.
Mm-hmm.
He began then to pray. He came to shul to daven. And he became more and more connected.
Mm-hmm.
At last now, Chozer b'tshuva. He became a from Jew. And all his songs and his way of life changed thanks to this vision of Yaakov. Now, I heard that, I was shocked. I understood that we don't speak here only on the ancient Yaakov some 3,500 years ago. We speak on Yaakov, who is Israel, who is us. We also have to be connected. We also cannot leave our family or brothers or sisters b'Mitzrayim out from Jewish feelings. We have to connect them to the fathers, to the roots, to their identity. I think this is the testimony and of Yaakov, which is towards us as Bnei Israel of this generation. This is what we have to think, how we can do it, how can we connect lechaber lechebron, to connect the Jewish people to their heritage and roots, fathers and identity in Hebron.
Right. And what I've learned about Hebron also is that on the one hand, our job is to connect people. On the other hand, it's also a kind of litmus test. It's a test. Sometimes I just see people who are disconnected, so I say, I could see that his whole worldview is because he's not connected and he doesn't understand. Or even worse, there are Jews who fight against our eternal connection to Hebron. We deal with that all the time. And you just, like, for example, let's say I try to bring somebody important or famous to come to Hebron, and I see that they're balking because of fear or because of not understanding. At some point, I say to myself, okay, he doesn't get it, or he doesn't have the merit, the schut, to be really connected. Speaking of somebody who didn't make it to Hebron, there's also Rachel Imenu. She did not make it to Hebron. And in the speech that Yaakov gives to Yosef, he tells him, "Vani bevoi mi Padan." When I came from Padan, which is northern Syria, southern Turkey, which is the city of Haran. Meta alai Rachel. Rachel died on me. Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Baderech, on the path. Be'od kivrat eretz. Lavo Efrata. It's to some distance to coming to Efrat. Vekbara sham bederech Efrat hi Beit Lachem. I buried her on the way to Efrat, on the road to Efrat. It is Beit Lechem or Bethlehem, and she is there to this day. Some people explain that the reason he needed to say that is in order to explain to him why I didn't bring your mother. You're asking me to bring. Yaakov says, I'm asking you to bring me all the way from Egypt to Hebron, and I couldn't bring your mother the next 20 kilometers to Hebron. Well, I'm trying to explain to you something about her. She died on me suddenly. I wasn't expecting it. She didn't, she died on me in childbirth. And other people explain that he was so heartbroken that he couldn't carry her. And mystically speaking, they explain that Kev Rachel is this place where Rachel stood, seeing her children being sold into exile, being exiled, and she prayed for them. And for me, I have my own explanation, which is I say to people that Rachel didn't want to be buried in the Marat Machpelah because the Marat Machpelah, there's some kind of solace. There's something calming. There's something family-like when you're in Marat Machpelah. There's something sameach. There's something happy in Marat Machpelah. But she wanted to be alone because she still cries for her children, refuses, as Jeremiah tells us, refuses to be consoled. All right? So Rachel Imenu. Any thoughts on Rachel Imenu not being in Marat Machpelah, Noam?
It's a sort of a Goral history.
Right.
Okay? This is
Historical fate.
Yes. Because Rachel symbolizes the willingness, the gaguim, the longing. She's still on the way longing her sons to return.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a mission. She cannot lay in Marat Machpelah silently. She's there longing and crying for her sons to come. This is from the very beginning. Because you remember when Yaakov saw first time Rachel, he cried. This is sort of, from the very beginning, from the very moment of their first meeting, you have the tears, and this is tears all over the Jewish history. Now, I can tell you something. I heard the chief rabbi of the Israeli army, Rab Goren, Rab Aluf, he was a general in the army, Shlomo Goren, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha. I heard him speaking on the night, the first night that he returned to Kever Rachel. Now it was after Shichrur Yerushalayim, after the
liberation of
Yerushalayim. The Rav Goren was there, blew the shofar and Berech Shechianu. In the middle of the night, he was in Bethlehem, in Kever Rachel, went in and said to Rachel Imenu, כה אמר השם מנעי קולך מבכי ועינייך מדמעה, weep no more Rachel, כי שבו בנים לגבולם, your sons had returned to their borders, to the place. And after that night, they came to Hebron. So they connected Yerushalayim, Bethlehem, and Hebron in one day to liberate and to bring back the sons of Shavu Banim Legvulam. And today, Baruch Hashem, you see Kever Rachel, you see thousands of Jews, men and women, coming to Kever Rachel every day. Yet, Kever Rachel today is beyond huge walls and borders and fences, which is terrible. We all hope this whole complex of castles, whatever
fortress
defenses will be moved away,
right?
And Rachel will be liberated again and reunite with her sons and daughters. But Kever Rachel today, I think this is a symbol, one of the symbols of return of Shavu Banim Legvulam.
Right.
So somehow we have so many ideas in this parsha that Baruch Hashem, in our generation, we can touch, we can be here, we can be. It's not only a dream or a portion that we could speak about. Now, my generation, including myself, I remember the day that we returned to the Kotel, to Kever Rachel, and to Hebron.
This actually brings me to another great return. And as we're recording this today, this morning, there was a great return, and that was the return of Jonathan Pollard to Eretz Yisrael today. I do hope that he comes to Kever Rachel and can say, Mini kolech mi bechi, in the same way. It was an amazing thing. Noam, I said to my 13-year-old daughter, I said, Leah, Jonathan Pollard came home. She said to me, "Who's Pollard?"
No.
Now then she remembered when I started telling her the story. She remembered, but it's funny, you know. Every generation with their words, with their things. She got it. She recalled, and she's like, "Oh yeah," and he was a spy. She remembered the story. But the point is for us, for our generation, and here in Hebron, as we're recording this was a place that was a moked, right? A central place where we fought and prayed and talked about Jonathan Pollard. Even not so far away from where we are, there's a caravan that has a picture of Jonathan Pollard on it. And
now Pollard got Ezrachut Kavod.
Honorary citizenship of Hebron, that's
Yes.
right. And so just one thought about that. Tell me a thought about that. Like Jonathan Pollard, 30 years after he was sent away to prison for protecting Israel and for really in the end protecting the United States as well. Various reports on what he gave, but most people credit the bombing of the Osirak nuclear plant to the information that Pollard gave, and this basically saved. And later on, generals thanked Israel for having destroyed that nuclear arsenal before it became active. So Jonathan Pollard is coming home today. Came off the airplane, by the way. Looked good, thank God. His wife Esther, who is sick with cancer, looked good. But he looked really... Noam, what can I tell you? It was...
Well, just a minute that he got out of the plane and kissed the land of Israel.
Yeah.
Kissed the soil of the land of Israel. Wow. It's a minute that we were dreaming about this minute so many years.
Yeah.
So many years. I remember it. I made a sign... Let my people go with Pollard under Soragim.
Under bars. Behind bars.
You know, it's like the signs that we were carrying.
For Soviet Union.
For Soviet Union Jews. Right. Let my people go.
Right.
With the pictures of Yosef Bigon, of Yosef Mendelevich, of Silva, of... all these poor Asirei Tzion that Baruch Hashem...
Prisoners of Zion.
That Baruch Hashem released. And I made a sign, let my people go, and with a picture of Pollard. And Baruch Hashem, we're dreaming so many years that this generation, you see so many things today that you cannot even begin to think the meaning of so many things, like American embassy in Yerushalayim, like American acknowledgement of the Golan, like American acknowledgement of all this of the Yishuvim in Yehuda v'Shomron as legal Yishuvim, and not chas v'shalom illegal of Jews in the land of Israel. So many things happening all the time. And I think people here in Israel, we feel a part of this historical process. And it's a big zchut, really, really a big zchut.
Well, you just said a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff has happened. Is Trump one of the people? Like, is he in the pantheon of Jewish history?
Of course, it's not a question. It's not a question that President Trump and his team were very, very active to help the redemption of the nation of Israel, of the land of Israel, of the people of Israel, of Jerusalem. And they have to get to, I think, well, we don't know yet, but anyhow, if he comes to visit, he will have to be a guest of honor here in Israel, everywhere,
right?
And to build together the future. Of course, we also hope whoever will be the next president to cooperate. You see, the Torah said, and the Nevi'im, the prophets said, whoever helps Israel will be helped. He will be a part of the process of help. Every president that helped Israel, of course, got help, and we hope every president in the future will be like Trump, helping and promoting the idea of the redemption of Israel.
Amen. And we'll see how realistic that is. But in any case, we did have I think we had a great gift, a huge gift, a messianic gift, a certainly a gift, of Jewish pride. And for me, I've been thinking a lot about this, Noam, and for me, the way I think of President Trump is truth as opposed to lies. Like, to me, the midat emet is the big thing that came out here. The characteristic of truth, the truth of Jewish rights in Jerusalem, Golan, and Judea and Samaria, the lies of the UN and the media. These things were exposed, at least the way we understood them. And that to me is what happened, was there was a midah of truth came into this world.
If we speak about Yaakov in this parsha, Yaakov is midat haemet. This is his basic characters of Yaakov is, as Chazal said, that Avraham is mercy, chesed, Yitzchak gvura, and Yaakov is emet, is truth, as you said.
Titen emet liYaakov, right?
That's right.
Emet liYaakov. You talked before about passing it on to the next generation. One of the most famous, there's verses here that are the verses of blessing the children. The two verses that are the famous verses of blessing children in Am Yisrael are here. The first one is Hamalach Hagoyloti, right? The verse is chapter Memchet, which is 48. Right? Hamalach Hagoyloti mikol ra yivarech et hane'arim v'yikareh bahem shemi v'shem avotai v'shem avotai
Avraham v'Yitzchak v'yitgu larov v'yitgu larov b'kereb haaretz.
So that's the famous tune that became. Who made that tune? Do you even know who made that tune? I don't know who made that tune.
I think Fried.
You think Fried? I don't know. We'll have to look that up. Please, if anybody knows the tune to Hamalach Hagoyel, who wrote that, please write me a hashtag Hamalach Hagoyel. And this is a very famous verse. The angel who redeems me or protects me, mikol ra, from all evil, yivarech et hane'arim, will bless the lads, v'yikareh bahem shemi, and he put my name upon them, as in the name of Yaakov, and also v'shem avotai, in the name of my forefathers, Avraham v'Yitzchak, Abraham and Isaac, v'yidgu larov, they should become like fish, flourish like fish, or propagate, be fruitful like fish, b'kerev haaretz, within the heart, within the land. This is a very famous verse, and this idea is what you were saying exactly. Put my name on the lads. Put my name on them. It's a very powerful thing. And maybe I misspoke. Maybe I said Yaakov, but maybe in this case it's Israel. Like, call them Israel. Call of them Israel. And also the name of the forefathers. This is a very powerful thing. We do this here in Hebron. And the other one is V'yivarchem bayom ha'u, and he blessed Joseph's children in that day, saying, Le'emor b'cha yivarech Yisrael. Can you help me out with this, Noam? B'cha yivarech Yisrael. Le'emor. Means say through, what does that mean? B'cha yivarech Yisrael. All of Israel should bless through you. What does it mean? With
your identity, with your name, with your presence, the whole nation of Israel forever. B'chai varech Yisrael emo. This is the symbol of the bracha of Am Yisrael.
So, and it goes on. Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim uchi Menashe.
God will make you like Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'Menashe. Now, this is what we say to our sons every Friday night.
Right.
Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'Menashe. Now, many people ask, why Dafka Ephraim v'Menashe?
No, why Dafka Ephraim v'Menashe?
Okay. Because I'll tell you two things. One, even though Menashe was the firstborn, was the B'chor, now in this situation, Ephraim was preferred because Yaakov put his right hand on the head of Ephraim and not Menashe, even though Menashe was the B'chor, but Ephraim got the blessing to be bigger and stronger and leader. Menashe didn't have jealousy. He firgen. Let's say he blessed his brother. Yes, brother, you are the younger, but you will be bigger, you'll be stronger, you will be the leader, and I support you. This is the bracha of when the sons can bless each other, can forget to each other, is the best bracha, when there is no jealousy between brothers. This is the best bracha we can expect from our children.
And we have that with Zvulun and Issachar,
That's
right?
right.
Who
That's
work
right.
together.
That's
and,
right.
and you've told me before that you think that that's what actually Yitzchak had in mind for Esav and Yaakov.
Yes.
That Esav would be the financial, dynamo, and Yaakov would be the spiritual dynamo,
Yes.
and they would work together. That was the
Yes.
idea there.
Now, in this generation, at that generation, it didn't happen. Now
Right.
it's happened. This is the first idea. The second is that Ephraim and Moshe, you remember, were born in Egypt, amongst Egyptian royal society,
Right.
and they remain Jews. They got the Egyptian education, Egyptian whatever. They went to the highest academy of Egyptian royal family, and they grew up in the palace of the Egyptian king, and they remain Jews. And it's also very important idea to bless our children. Wherever you are, in every environment you are, hold on your identity, your soul, your faith, and you can you can learn from Ephraim and Moshe how to do it. So I think this is the best blessing that we can bless in this generation. So this is why we bless our sons.
That's good. I like that very much.
Okay.
So what you're saying is, you hear me, boy? Don't assimilate, right? Always be Jewish, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. But you have such a good example in these two nesichim, two princesses.
Right. So you're saying, one, don't be jealous of one another,
Yes.
and two, in all environments,
Hold on your
identity. All right, great. That's very, very good. That's very good. Let's go on just to a few more points here. This is interesting. You, Noam, have made a life of Chevron is your life, and you've made it the life of so many other people. Interestingly, recently you went to an evening of Chevron children and their families, Dafka in Alon Moreh, in Shechem. And there's a big relationship between Chevron and this, which is the capital of Judea, and basically almost a 2-hour drive from here, which is Alon Moreh, next to the city of Shechem. And here we have in the Torah portion says, Vayomer Yisrael el Yosef, Israel says to Joseph, Hine anochi met, here I'm dying. Vaya Elohim imachem, may God shall be with you. Veshiv etchem el eretz avotechem, and he'll return you to the land of your forefathers. There you have it, everything. And then he says, V'ani natati lecha Shechem echad al achecha. I've given you an extra portion on top of your brothers, or I've given you the city of Shechem, which indeed is where Joseph is going to be buried by his grandson Yoshua ben Nun. And he says, and Yaakov continues, Asher lakachti miyada emori becharbi uvekashti, which I took from the Amorites with my sword and with my bow. By the way, my personal explanation for becharbi uvekashti is Shimon and Levi. That's my explanation.
Supposedly that's right.
I just understand that that's what he means. But in any case, tell me a little bit about the tomb of Joseph. Who called me for fundraising yesterday? By the way, the folks at the Tomb of Joseph called yesterday. You know, what are they called? The yeshiva there, not the Od Yosef Chai, the other yeshiva. Anyway, they're in charge of all the Yosef stuff, and I give them money also. That's my one charity. My one charity is I work in Chevron, so I give them the money to Shechem. Tell me a little bit about Shechem Echad and the connection maybe between Chevron and Shechem.
As you say, that there are two ways how to understand Shechem Echad here. It can be Shechem, the city of Shechem, and it can be Shechem, which is a part. Shechem Echad, I give you a part more than I give to the other sons, because Yaakov made Yosef as equal to a bchor, to a firstborn son.
Right, and he gives him a double portion because he gives his two sons a portion in the land.
That's right. Actually, we know Kever Yosef is in Shechem, and I visited there many times in the past. Unfortunately, from 2000, it was given away to the PLO, and now it's a very dangerous place to visit. Now, once a few weeks or once a month, they organize some armored vehicles with the escort of the army to get into Shechem and to daven in Kever Yosef, because the PLO people there, they attack the place, they burn it, they destroy it, they do what they can do to destroy it as a Jewish holy place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's terrible to think that in our generation, the brothers had sold away Joseph again to the hands of the enemies. We can only expect and pray and wait and cry for the days that Kever Yosef will be liberated again.
Mm-hmm.
And people will be able to visit there and to pray there and to continue the eternal Jewish connection to the place. Now, Yosef is still waiting. If we spoke about Rachel, that Baruch Hashem, we returned to her son Yosef, yet we have still a way to do, and we have to do it.
You know, Noam, the good news about Samaria is that it's developing nicely. In some ways, I think Samaria is in better shape than Judea today. I think Judea is basically developed up until Tzomet HaGush, the Gush Etzion junction. Then there's really a very long stretch, which is no Jewish communities, all the way to Kiryat Arba, Hebron, which is a pretty isolated place, and then all the way down until you have the southern Hebron towns, which are really satellites of Beersheba. It's not the most developed. Shamron, which is closer to Tel Aviv and now has a big city there itself, which is Ariel, and has a university, is more developed. But sadly,
That's right.
the tomb of Joseph is not in our hands today, and as you expressed, kind of been sold. And the tomb of Rachel is not liberated exactly. It's not exactly liberated. It's we're there, but it's not in its glory. It's in its defensive posture.
She's somehow hidden. She's somehow hidden, and you have this fortress around, walls that you feel like you're going into.
Yeah, prison.
Something like the prison,
Right.
yes. So so we see, thank God, we have done quite a good way, and thank God we have still some good way to do in the future.
Right, that's right. And by the way, the mountain that is the Mount of Blessings, Har Grizim, has a community right now called Har Bracha, which is just expanding and exploding, doing very well. Let's get to just two last things, and we'll finish off, Noam, and I appreciate your time. We have the blessings for the rest of the sons, and I don't know which ones you want to talk about. Maybe about Judah. Judah is also...
Because we are in the capital of Judah.
Right.
Hebron is the capital of Judah.
Right. And maybe you want to talk about the phrase Chachlili. Is that what I'm talking about? Which is Chachlili einaim miyain.
Yes. Ulven shinaim.
Uleven shinaim michalav.
Yes.
Which means what?
The eyes are quite reddish from wine, and the teeth are white from milk. Now, this combination of wine, of grapes, and milk is typical to the land of Judea, because in the land of Judea you have two parts. You have the Judea hills and you have the Judea desert.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the Judea hills, the most nafots, popular agriculture is
what's grown here?
Grown is grapes, is anavim,
Right.
vineyards.
Right.
And in the Judea desert is not Yeshimon. It's not
an impossible desert. It's a semi-dry desert.
Yes.
Right.
And in the Judea desert, there are many shepherds with sheep, with goats, and they milk them. So in the land of Judea, you have the two basic materials of mashkaot,
The drinks
of wine and milk.
Right.
This is what Yaakov said. Now, we can understand that the Shvatim, the tribes, did know, before they came to Israel, where they are going to settle down in the land of Israel.
They knew their portions, their land.
The portion in the land, who is going to be near the sea, Zvulun Lechof Yamim Mishkon, and Yehuda is here in the land of Judah. And basically, many Shvatim, many tribes, did know from the beginning where, in this portion in Israel, where they are going to settle down and to live. So in Yehuda, and the most, Yehuda is like a lion. Now, this the symbol of lion of Yehuda is appearing again and again in the Tanakh, because a lion is a symbol. Well, maybe I don't know if lion is the strongest animal in Africa. Anyhow, it's for sure it's the most popular symbol for strength, for power, but not only physical power, but for let's say spiritual and bravery and
leadership.
That's right. And this is why the prophecy said all the kings of Israel, the king of Judea, they came from David, which is from the tribe of Judea. And in the future, all the Jews wait for Mashiach, will be a son or grandson of David from the tribe of Judea, which is the tribe that will be the leader, was and will be the leader of Israel.
Okay. One last section, Noam, okay? One last section. He blesses all the tribes, and it says, Kol ele shiftei Yisrael, Shnei Masar, these are all the tribes of Israel, 12. V'zot asher diber lahem avihem, this is what their father said to them. V'yivarech otam, ish asher ki birchato berach otam. Okay, so he blessed them. Everyone got his specific blessing. Everybody got, as we say here in Israel, tsumi. Right, you got attention, you got personal attention, personal blessing. And here's the final words of Yaakov in the whole Torah, the book of Bereshit. This is the last of the words of the forefathers. In the whole book of Genesis, which is the whole setup for the rest of the Jewish story, and really global story. And he says, Vayomer elehem, he says to them, after he finishes giving them individual blessings, Ani ne'esaf el ami, I'm gathered onto my people. Kivru oti el avotai, bury me to my forefathers. El ha'me'ara asher bezdeh Ephron hachiti, to the cave which is in the field of Ephron the Hittite. So I was reading this with my mom over Shabbos. So she says to me, why would it be called Sdeh Ephron? Why would it be called? So I told her, why would it be called the field of Ephron when Abraham bought it? So I told her, it's like Tel Rumeda here in the Hebron. Some places, or
many other places in Israel, as people say Castina, say Masmia, say
right.
Many other places that still carry the name after it was changed.
Right. So he's Sdeh Ephron, it might have been bought by Abraham, but it's still called that. Where? Ba'me'ara, in the cave, asher bezdeh ha'machpelah, which is in the field of Machpelah. Now explain this to me. I actually really want an answer from you here. Why is it called Sdeh ha'machpelah? I thought it was a cave. That's a double cave. Why is it called a field?
But Abraham also purchased the field.
Yes.
Because the cave symbolizes the burial site of the forefathers and mothers, symbolizes the past. Mm-hmm. Now the field is the place where new fruits will come. The field symbolizes the future.
Right.
So the Sadeh and the Me'ara, the field and the cave, symbolize together the past and the future together.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Asher al pnei Mamre, which is on the face of Mamre. Now, you've explained in many tours that I've been with you on that Mamre is referring to a mountain right here called Jabal Nimra.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. Asher kana Avraham et hasadeh. This field was bought by Abraham me'et Ephron, from Ephron the Hittite, lachuzat kaver, for a burial property. Shama kavru et Avraham ve'et Sarah. There they buried Abraham and Sarah, and Sarah's wife. Shama kavru et Yitzchak ve'et Rivka ishto. There they buried Yitzchak and Rivka's wife. I wonder why he didn't say I buried Yitzchak and Rivka. I just wondered. This is Shama kavru et Yitzchak ve'et Rivka ishto. We didn't know where Rivka was buried till this moment. We didn't know anything.
Supposedly, Esav came to bury his father, as Ishmael did. So supposedly, Esav came to bury his father with Yaakov. So he didn't say, I buried. He said, Kavru. It means together. Many people did it.
This, I think, very romantic. It says, V'shama kavarti et Leah. That's where I buried Leah. I myself buried her there. We didn't know that Leah passed away. We didn't know that she was buried in Marat Machpelah, but he tells us this.
We have to remember that at last, Leah was the mother of most of Israel.
Right.
And Leah was the mother of Yehuda.
Right.
So
and
Leah,
Levi.
And David.
And Levi.
And Levi, that's right. So at last, Leah was a very essential part of the family, and I am sure that when said Vayav Yaakov et Rachel mi Leah, it means it doesn't mean that he didn't love Leah. He loved Rachel more, but he loved also Leah for sure.
Right. And then it has a strange verse. Mikneh hasadeh, the purchase of the field. Veha me'ara asher bo met bnei chet. The purchase of the field and the cave that is within it from the Hittites. Why does he add that in? Mikneh hasadeh ve'me'ara asher bo met bnei chet. What's the point of adding that in?
It's a place that we bought, we purchased from Med Bnei. You should remember, it's our place.
Right.
Don't get messed.
Right.
I mean, remember, it's our land.
Right. I want to tell you, Noam, for me, it is a message. I remember that we were sitting in the office here next door, and when the UNESCO decision started coming up, and I remember thinking to myself, no, we cannot allow them to start saying that Marat HaMachpelah, the tomb of Machpelah, is actually a Palestinian World Heritage Site. Our Torah lays it out to us. It's almost like Yaakov is saying, one day there's going to come an organization. Just like there's going to come a mosque and then a church and a mosque, church and a mosque and a church and a mosque that are going to come and say, no, this is actually our spot. There's going to be an international organization. They're going to say to you, no, this is a Palestinian World Heritage Site. So he says, no. Remember, we bought this place. It's ours.
That's right.
And it says, Vayachal Yaakov letzavot et banav. He finished commanding his sons. Vayasef raglav el amitai. He gathered his feet up on the bed. Vayikva. He passed away. Vayasef el amav. It was gathered onto his people. That was it. That's what he said. That's our place. Our place, Marat HaMachpelah. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm finished. That's what I wanted to let you know.
And be connected. Get connected. Titchabru.
Yafeh, from Lashon Chevron. Okay, finally, Yosef is going to fulfill the commandment. He's going to go to Pharaoh, tell Pharaoh that he's going to bury Yaakov in Hebron, and they carried him. And it says, Vaisu oto vanav arza Knaan. His sons carried him to the land of Canaan. Vikberu oto b'me'arat zdei Machpelah. They buried him in the tomb, in the field of Machpelah. Asher kana Avraham et hasadeh, which Abraham purchased the field, lachuzat kaver, for a burial plot. Me'et Ephron Achiti, from Ephron the Hittite, al pnei Mamre. It is in front of Mamre, which, as we said, Jabal Nimra. And that whole they returned, and from here on, they're basically going to stay in Egypt all the way to the Exodus. Yosef tells them, not to be afraid. He's not here to hurt them. Now that Yaakov is gone, they're afraid of that. Yosef sees his children have children. And he finally says at the end, Yosef says to his brothers, I myself am dying. Anochi met. Velohim pakod yifkod etchem. God is going to call on you. And there's a secret password, which is pakod yifkod, username pakod, password yifkod etchem ve'aleh etchem min haaretz hazot. He will bring you up. He'ela etchem min haaretz hazot. He'll bring you up from this land. Ela haaretz asher nishba leAvraham, liYitzchak veLeYaakov. To the land that was promised to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Now that Yaakov is dead, you could use him in that triad, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You could start using that term. And it's here at the very end of Genesis, which is this thing called the land, which God promised to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. That's where that idea begins.
Now, if in the next parsha in Shmot, and you see Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov again and again and again,
right,
in the name of Eretz Israel. This is the land of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. It's Nachalat Avotenu. It's simple as that.
You know, Noam, a lot of times I think to myself that the most important thing that we could do is just to make sure that people are connected to the Parshat Bereshit, to the Sefer Bereshit, and if they just would know the Tanakh, so much more political and behavioral things which would change if you just were connected to the Tanakh. For me, my connection to the whole thing is because I believe in these words, and because you believe in these words, everything changes. Everything changes.
Whenever people come here to visit, come to Me'arat HaMachpelah, and many of them will never visited here again before, I begin to explain now what this place means to you. Many people say it's foundation. That's right. It's the basement, foundation. That's right. It's a foundation of the Jewish people. But it's more than that. It's roots. What's the difference? Because roots are alive. Even though they are buried in, you can't see them. But if you see a tree with flowers and fruits, you know that this tree has live has roots which are alive. Even though you can't see them, they are buried, but they are alive. The fathers and the mothers are like roots, living there, down there, and alive, and gives us the strength, the life, and the power of to be what we are.
Well, there's no better way to finish than that. The roots are alive, the forefathers and mothers are alive. Noam Arnon, you're the legendary spokesman here at the Jewish community of Hebron. You're finishing up your doctorate right now. Congratulations. Hopefully soon. About
hopefully.
actually,
hopefully soon.
The history of the Me'arat HaMachpelah, the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. You're really the first person to have a doctorate on this specific issue, and that's really, really cool. And I want to thank you so much. And I want to thank all of you for sticking around with us, learning the Torah portion of Vayechi. And I want you to send me a hashtag roots are alive. Our roots are alive. That's the hashtag. Our roots are alive. And that's our connection to Hebron. More great stuff is on the way here on the Yishai Fleisher Show. Lots of love and lots of strength. Let's keep broadcasting the light of Israel, emanating from the land of Israel, which is a reflection of the God of Israel, who is really showing his revelation in our great time. So lots of love and lots of blessings from the land of blessings. Thank you, Noam, and shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, and all the best.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining me on this long and I hope meaningful show with both Malkah Fleisher. Malkah, you're back. Thank you so much for joining me.
Here I am. That was a great show, full of awesomeness.
And a lot of sweet Torah with Noam Arnon. Thank you, Noam, for joining us. Malkah, I just want to remind people that this show comes with a lot of effort and a lot of love to send it out to the world from Judea. I really take a day off a week to make it happen and try to get you good information, good inspiration, good folks to hear. So when people listen and they enjoy it, if they can also be part of it in another way, one way is to send it out to other people, email it, send it, put 5-star ratings on wherever you listen to the show. But another way to do it is to support. And this is the end of the secular year, the tax year, Rosh Hashanah taxation, right? and so a great way to help us out is by donating, going to yishaifleisher.com/support. And you join me and you strengthen Israel through that. And Yocheved, our good friend, has changed that site that page so that you can now give through things like Venmo and Cash App and Apple Pay and obviously credit card and PayPal and all these kind of things.
We're going to be working on a Patreon.
That's right. Patreon's coming up. But right now you can go in all of the different ways that could be easy for you to just,
you just
let
click,
go.
yes.
That would be wonderful.
The truth is, it's been a hard year for a lot of people, I know. And nonetheless, we've had some people who've given with such sweetness and generosity and really
Absolutely.
the desire to push the message of a strong and happy and healthy Israel out to the world. And you guys are really an inspiration, and you inspire us, and we hope that we do something to help inspire you out there, and we all just lift each other up.
Amen. Let us lift each other up. Let's give each other strength, Malkah. That's right.
So thank you to all of you, and thank you all of you for a really beautiful secular 2020. And when I say beautiful, I don't just mean easy, but here we are. And if you're listening to this show right now, it means you're alive, which is already pretty good. Baruch Hashem, and your 2021 should be no matter what it was, it should be a better year. Even if it was a great year, it should be a better year for you next year. And we should only share good news and good stories and good times.
And blessings, of course.
And blessings from Judea.
That's right, and from the land of blessings. Shalom, everybody. Thanks again to all of you, and to Moshe Herman, Ben Bresky, and Tabitha for getting it out through the net waves to the world. Lots of love, from the land of blessings, and shalom.
Shalom, everybody. This is Jeremy Gimpel from the Land of Israel Network, but also from the Land of Israel Fellowship. We have members from 31 countries joining us every week, Sunday, live at 6 p.m. For those that can't make it live, they get a direct recording. Just go to thelandofisrael.com/fellowship. We're growing together, we're learning together, we're celebrating together. The gates are open for all who want to come and join.